What's up, guys? How's it going, gents?
What's up?
How you doing, man?
What's up?
Everybody, Hollow Down Land. It's your boy Pat. Welcome back to the next episode of the Hollow Down Cigar Lounge. You see the faces you know down below, Mr. Chad, Justin over here to the side, and then we got our tobacconist friend Gordon over here hanging out with Justin. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Been excited to do this podcast. That's for sure.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a little bit. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
So reason we're doing this one is we're all smoking whatever the hell we want to smoke today. It's obviously not a specific review show. There's things that we talk about as cigar lovers, bloggers, consumers, everything that is on a different perspective than what somebody like Gordon may view things at. So we wanted to use that as an excuse. Still our new friendship in him over the last couple of years to pick his brain and just kind of talk things cigar from behind the counter. So that's what we're going to do today. So, but just to throw you on the spot, Gordon, before we start talking, we kind of know some of this, but tell everybody what you do and like how you kind of got started in your tobacconist thing and just kind of a little bit of background about yourself before we start picking your brain a little bit.
Gotcha. So I've been actually smoking since like December of 2019. I got brought into it from an acquaintance of mine because he was like, I do so many hobbies that ended up turning into a job that ended up stressing me out. And basically, it was like, you need something to just kind of calm you down a little bit. So he brought me over to a lounge near him. Started smoking off with like a Matilda Serena, which was my first ever cigar. But ever since then, I got hooked because I felt like it really relaxed me and I don't have to worry about anything else out here. And with the two, like from 2019 going all the way to, I'll say 2021, I was just kind of like your Joe Schmo cigar smoker, just smoking like almost anything and everything, but I kind of will say stuck with a certain brand, and my brand at the time was Davidoff. And I found it, and I just kind of went balls to the wall with that brand. And then I ended up finding my own home lounge, and that turned into me working for that home lounge for about 3 years, learning about learning about cigars, learning about blending, and also throughout all that, I started like meeting up with reps, understanding the more inner workings of like the cigar industry, and then where I am now, I started working at a different lounge in like bigger space, more like more reps, and just being able to build a bigger, like a stronger relationship with these reps, and just understanding the inner workings better.
Well, I'll say right off the bat, your first cigar smoking experience was a hell of a lot better than mine. So if you started with a Matilda, I started with an acid, so you got a much better starting point than I did. But it's kind of cool to. I didn't realize you worked at the first your first home lounge. That's kind of a cool segue point for, I guess, you kind of getting into the environment a little bit, which is kind of a neat spin, you know.
Yeah, like
you didn't it's not like you just put a job application online and said, well, here's the first new job. You at least kind of had some connection, at least, you know?
Oh yeah, and it's kind of funny because actually my first home lounge, the reason why I wanted to work there was actually to be a bartender because I had a lot of I had had quite a bit of bartending experience and I wanted to work there at a higher level, but then it kind of curveball into me being a bar back and working as a what is it? Well, for them was a humidor assistant, but
Okay.
we all know that's a tobacconist.
Right.
So that's kind of how it ended up being. And with that, I learned a lot about cigars, learning a lot about the culture and the industry as a whole.
Well, we talk. Well, this is my term. I don't know if this is actually the appropriate separation between the two, but I say that there's a difference between a tobacconist and a tobacco clerk, and the best way I can explain that is, it doesn't matter if you're going into a small mom and pop brick and mortar or you're going into a major conglomerate store. You have somebody that may be trained just to run the register and sell the product, and you may have somebody that's actually trained to actually know the tobacco. So if I were to walk in and say, hey, shoot me a shot on a new smoke, and you ask me a question or two about my preferences, you can then know the tobacco enough to direct, where you may have somebody at a different location that just runs a register because they're just running inventory, and there is a difference. So you having the background of your humidor assistant being the tobacconist, I guess was kind of a good start for you in learning the back end of tobacco while you're enjoying the hobby as we are, just enjoying to smoke it to begin with. But what is your opinion, or I guess, and I know that different people may have a different perspective on this, but if one of us were to walk into the shop and say, hey, I'm looking for a new smoke, what do what do you recommend for the day? Where does your brain immediately go into how to start that conversation as a tobacconist?
That's a good question.
That is a very good question because I will say when I first started was basically, oh, okay, I'll go with whatever I'm smoking that day, or I immediately go to like my top 5 sticks that I kind of created. Now it's more of before I even like pick out a stick, I was like, ask them, what brands do you smoke? What is your go-to stick? What do you like? And what is this for? Like, what occasion is it for? Because I went from, like you said, a humidor attendant to a true tobacconist, where instead, I think I treat it more like, for example, like someone who's selling wine at a wine cellar versus someone versus a sommelier who's actually trying to create the experience with the wine as I'm doing that with cigars, and I'm trying to create an experience that you'll actually enjoy, and then you'll always come back to that cigar, and you more than likely come back to my shop because you enjoyed the experience that I give you.
And I never put the correlation together with tobacco and the wine sommeliers until more recent past. But that's a really good connection because everybody thinks of wine connoisseurs and the tasting notes and the flavors and everything that goes with it, and you kind of do the same thing here as you learn. And your first response to that is probably still what I do, and I've been smoking 15 16 years, and somebody asked me like, hey, what do you want to smoke today? And my brain goes to like, well, this is what I smoked today. And that's probably not the most appropriate response, so um actually learning enough to respond to that question appropriately and guide them down. It's like you're if I walk in there to say something to you, you can be my personal little tour guide through the shop. It's like, and I don't mean tour guide isn't showing me around the layout. You can point to that from the counter. It's taking me through the tour of like, what am I into? the best question is, what are you going to be doing? We had that realization on the show a few times. Like, you can have a $100 unicorn, but you're going to be mowing the grass. Or you're going to be actually, sitting down with some friends, smoking and enjoying it. It can kind of take you down a good path of what direction to go. And if you have a good tobacconist, which is, kind of where, especially for Justin, getting the pleasure being over there closer to you and getting to see in person more, you have a tobacconist that you trust, you're going to keep going back to that person. So yes, there's a market for it as well, but you also get that professional friendship that in some cases, like here, it can kind of turn into a standard friendship of learning somebody, trusting somebody, getting to know your interests. And I think it expands the brotherhood on top of just the retail side of it too.
That's kind of exactly what happened with me and him. Is that you guys know that I've been in the cigar lifestyle for only a few years, and I would come in and say, "Man, I smoked this." I said, "What else would you recommend?" And then here comes Gordon. He would take me down to the actual cigar, be like, "You should try this, or maybe this," and then he'll go down a few more aisles and be like, "If you like this, then you'll definitely like this." And then he wouldn't just say the name, say the brand. He would say what's in it, what are the tasting notes, how's it smoke, give his personal opinion, give his business opinion on it as well. The guy's a well of knowledge, my personal opinion, and I've been very fortunate to have him next to me during this past 2 years for him to help me out, for him to say avoid that or go all the way with this.
And I know I've said it myself, Gordon, so you know directly. I've told Justin multiple times that I've been jealous because he had the ability to meet somebody like you when he first got going, where, and I've said it multiple times, but like my first cigar was somebody else gave it to me for a buddy's birthday at the barracks. And then when I started playing around, I was limited to what we had at the base exchange, which was a whole bunch of acids, a bunch of swishers, and a couple brands that I can't tell you what they were anymore. So it took me several years on my own to start learning this other stuff. So having access to somebody that can kind of guide you down a little bit, Justin's way ahead of the curve, um, than I ever was.
So you made a comparison between tobacconist and sommelier. That's a really good comparison. But like with the sommeliers, Gord, do you have like a formal training that you go through to be a tobacconist?
So I did, I do, because so there is a certification online, and it's actually through it's through a company called Tobacconist University. So
Okay.
they have a test and training online, and they also have like a textbook that you can go through and read it on your own. I'll say the textbook is free, and I'll say this is not me trying to and not trying to boast about them, is that they give you a really good wealth of knowledge about cigars, going from the history of how cigars started and tobacco itself, all the way down to the process of going from the tobacco leaf all the way down to final production of like the boxes and bands. And I'll say with the book, it does go a little bit into stuff like pipes, cigarettes, humidors, cutters. Like it gives you a bunch of different. It gives you a bunch of information on what you need to know as a tobacconist. But I'll say this is also good for people who are trying to get into cigars. I'll say it's a little bit of an information overload for newer smokers, but it's like if you're very curious about it and you really want to know, that's where I highly recommend it, because that's actually how I got my certification, which is called a CRT, or Certified Retail Tobacconist. It Consumers can get it as well, but it's called, if I'm correct, CCT, or Certified Consumer Tobacconist. But you still need to get registered. You still need to be sponsored by a lounge itself.
I didn't know there was different levels, or I guess levels is the right word here. I didn't realize there were different points of that. I sure as hell didn't know there was I mean, we talked about it in passing, like when we compare the sommelier stuff. Like, obviously, you've done some sort of training, but I didn't realize there was like an actual, I don't know what word I'm looking for, like a registry type, almost like a collegiate type of training. I always just figured it was hardcore, just doing it, learning it on, on the job training. I mean, which is there obviously, but
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there was like schooling per se. Not to that degree, I guess.
There is schooling, but I would say a lot that it's mainly just a lot of self-learning because there isn't like a registered school you go to, you take classes and stuff like that. You could treat it more like almost like an online degree. You go online, you read the textbook, you take the test, and if you pass, you get the certification. I'll tell you that it's like the certification is great because it gives you a little bit of credibility. But I will say that coming from where I started, because I started smoking smoking cigars by itself first before I even got the certification. I was told about the certification through my first shop, but the thing is, I didn't really get it until I moved to my second shop.
Was your second shop where you're at now, or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
How? This doesn't really matter. This is just a pack curiosity. How long did you? And you probably told me or Justin, but how long did you work there before you? Just since it was kind of like your home base, how long did you work there before you kind of branched out to move into another shop?
About 2.5 years.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm about to go on year 3 right now with my current job. So I have about it's 2.5 years in both. So I have a total of about 5 years in the industry.
Okay. And the people that you just imagine the amount of people that you've spoken to regarding tobacco in just 5 years, and you've got, it sounds like if you're talking like any other job, you're like, man, that's only 5 years, retirement's 25, 30. But just to stop and think about how many people you've talked to and potentially impacted their hobby and decisions over just a 5-year period as you've learned and grown and gotten more knowledgeable. That's an insane thing to stop and think about, is the impact that you can have on people like us who do it for, just personal enjoyment or a hobby or whatever. It's a lot of influence that, you can have in the right way.
Yeah, like I've thought about that for a long time, and it's like, so I will say this: I am actually on more the younger side when it comes to this industry. I'm only 28, and that it comes with its challenges because we still have a lot more established smokers that have been smoking for about 20, 30 years that are in their late 50s, early 60s. And when I first started, it was a little bit of you can say that it was a bit of a gap at first, especially when it came to me working only 6 months in the industry at the time, because a lot of them would be just looking at me as like, well, what do you know? I've been smoking 20 plus years. You've only been smoking for a year. And it's a little bit of a chip on my shoulder because of my work history, but it's one of those where sometimes I just try to let it go. But as I've worked longer in the industry, like you said, meeting a lot of people, and that includes both reps and regulars. Like right now, where I work at, I still meet the same regulars that I do when I was working at my other shop. So I've built a lot of my credibility as well. And on top of that, like one thing a lot of people make a joke about is it's like, well, if you work at a cigar shop, you only buy your sticks from the cigar shop you work at. I'm like, no, because your cigar shop will only have so much in their humidor that you still need to venture out and go look at other stuff. So I would go from like one shop that's maybe 5 miles away from the shop I work at now or like back then, and then I would go about 30, 40 minutes to another shop just to see what they have. And what's funny is where Justin and I live in right now, where Justin and I live, is that like the cultures are different. Like currently where we live in, is it okay? Yeah. So we live in Fort Worth, and Fort Worth, the culture is still kind of growing. It's there, but it's not well established yet. But in Dallas, it's very well established. Everyone knows. Almost everyone over there has a wealth of knowledge. But the thing is that they do it very differently, where there's a lot more brand smokers out there than actual knowledgeable smokers. They'll stick to what they like. Here, the culture is a little bit different, where people are actually venturing out and looking at things that are more of like, well, I need it with this wrapper, or I need it with this filler, or I need it to have this type of profile. So that's where it's like, for me, it's just trying to not be so closed-minded is what is kind of what helps.
And I know a lot of people, I did this myself, is you reference the difference between being a brand smoker and being a tobacco smoker. And I'm paraphrasing, but you have, I mean, for a while after I got past that first hiccup and I learned about 2-3 brands, like that's all I did. I didn't know enough to really go past it. I was like, oh, I like this brand, I'm gonna smoke that. It's like when I had my first Padron, I went on that kick. It's like, well, if it's not a Padron, it's shit. That's not true, but that's all I knew. So I went to Padron, and I stuck on that for a hot minute because it was like my first real brand that I got introduced after the cheaper stuff. And I was like, oh, this is it. This is all there is to tobacco. And I didn't actually know what the hell the tobacco was I was smoking. I was just like, it's Padron, it's good, end of story. And that was it. You know, it took me way too long to, I mean, some of that was on me. It took me a while to allow myself to explore. But it also took me a while before I had somebody that helped me explore. You know, I didn't have, I mean, you know, the problem with starting on base is everybody's, you know, minimum wage just reselling. I mean, most of their job, if we're being real, is selling tobacco, is selling cigarettes and energy drinks. That's like 80% of any base store. That's not the commissary, you know, so they didn't care. When I was coming in there for cigars, they didn't care. It's not their purpose.
You're lucky if you even had any humidity in it.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
And I honestly cannot tell you. I could drive to the PX that I bought from, but I cannot tell you if it even had a humidor because I didn't know what I was looking for then. So I do not even remember how it was there. I can halfway visualize the shelf. Couldn't tell you if it was in a humidor, if it was out on a counter. I don't remember. I don't have a clue. So
most of those places have like a little gas station humidor.
And that's
Let's,
little job, acrylic box.
Let's take a little pause and talk about what everybody's smoking real quick. I'll let Gordon go first.
So I'm actually smoking the Don Derma Golden Child.
Oh,
that's a horrible cigar. Why would you
how'd
do
you
that?
get that? Justin gave that to you, didn't he?
Well, it's like, because before we even started, I was debating on what to smoke, because it's like, how I look at it is, we all understand this, that whenever we're smoking a certain cigar, that's kind of like your identity. In my case, it's a little bit different because because I smoke so many different kinds that I don't really have much of an identity. But it's like, this is the first time everyone sees me, so I was like, okay, well, let's try. But he's like, well, like Justin's like, well, this is going to be your first time smoking it. You might as well smoke it here because everyone wants to know what my opinion is.
And Chad, just
that's a good idea.
He got that from me, from Secreto.
Yeah. He bought a box through you or something, or okay.
Yeah, one of our.
I knew it came. I figured it came from you somehow.
And you know, just to sweeten the deal, I said, "Smoke this, and I'll give you another one." And so I gave him another one. So he's got a
horrible arrangement. I would never agree to such a thing.
Well, he needs an OG Don Derma is what he needs if he's gonna compare the Golden Child and the OG.
I've got one left, but as soon as I get a box, I'll probably throw him another one. I'm smoking the Cigar by Foundation.
Oh, Nice.
The word I still can't say properly.
Yeah. And I wonder who gave that one
Is
to
it
me.
Centager? Is it Centager? How do you say it? Gordon, what's your opinion? We need you to weigh in.
Senator?
I think it's Senator.
Okay.
Like
Centager? That's how I say
Senator.
it too. Yep.
Yeah.
That's how I hear it, but I don't know.
I just know I bluff it up every single time.
Well, I got this one from you, Chad. So shout out to Chad.
That's a broadleaf bully right there.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a good one.
good. Chad, what are you smoking?
I'm hitting one of the lightest cigars that I go, Dumbarton Sober Mesa Brulee. Y'all know I like the spicy and the beefier stuff too. Now, yes, Chad, it was still the Gorilla arm size. Don't worry.
The Gordo.
I would expect nothing less.
But it's one of the, and this year, as we talked about, my Connecticut preference list has grown a little bit, but I still have a short list of the lighter shade stuff that I smoke. So this one is just, it's super smooth, more elegant to me. It's got the spices without it. Just, you don't have a lot of overpowering notes. So
that's almost a medium.
Yeah, I smoked that one this morning, but in the Toro.
Yep. Yeah, I like that one in the Churchill or Double Corona. I can't remember which is the longer one. I'm smoking a Don Carlos Presidente.
Of course you are.
Don Carlos.
You know, if I got to pick my own cigar,
talking about brand favorites, and we can always say that Chad is the Fuente freak.
Yep.
I do have a favorite, but I like all cigars.
If it's not Fuente, it's Aventura.
But
if it's not Aventura, it's
but we also know that specifically within
Warped.
it's going to go
Warped,
heavy to Don Carlos inside that brand too. So
I'm curious to what do you think of that?
It's actually really good. I would say it started off it had a little bit of spice up front, but now it's like really becoming smooth. Has a little bit of like, it's kind of like a buttery smoothness, but it also has a little bit of like sweetness to it that I'm trying to like describe. But I really like it.
Now I know you always say that you get the burnt popcorn on the retro, but that one's specifically designed to retro. What do you think?
So it's funny because the thing is, I get it's burnt peanuts, but I got a little bit of what it is a different nose on it. But it's just like I couldn't think of like what it is, and I was like, oh, this has a very different retro than what I'm used to.
Yeah, for sure.
You need to get him an OG so he can experience the Cremora retro hail.
I won't say
like Coffee Mate.
Yeah.
Actually, I've given him a Don Derma before. Now that I think about it,
have you?
But
What's up, Chris? Thanks for joining the show. Hope you're hanging out with us. Yeah, there's a difference, and I know Chad can probably speak to this even better. There's a difference in the retro experiences between those two cigars.
100%. The Golden Child is much stronger.
Yeah, much more
a lot more pepper. Yep. And then the OG has more of that ice cream retro hail where you almost get. I think it tastes like. You ever put Coffee Mate on your tongue, the powdered kind?
I've never done that.
I don't say I've actually put it on my tongue, but
Gordon, I've had it. Okay, well, if you get some that's not like, stirred up in the liquid and you happen to bite into it, that taste, that's what the retro for me is like. It's almost like a dehydrated ice cream or some kind of
that's a
milk powder. I don't know. It's a strange retro, but it's super nice. That's one of my favorite Dunbarton cigars for sure. Without a doubt.
And I do retro, but obviously I don't retro as much as either one of you two. And I really enjoy the retro on the OG. The Golden Child I'll smoke all day long, and sometimes I won't even retro because there's so much on the palate you don't have to.
I'll say
I'm a little more careful with that one for sure.
Yeah.
Like this
what's that, Gordon?
In my humidor. This one's been sitting in my humidor for a while, so it's very light and creamy to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
since last April, since the release, I brought it to him as soon as I got it.
Yeah,
I mean it's still creamy.
So
I don't mean
6 months.
I don't mean to say that it's not still smooth. It just seems like to me, if I'm comparing one to the other, it's got a little bit more body, more profile to it in the flavor.
Well, it's 100% stronger. There's no doubt. Yep. When you smoke regular Don Derma, it's more like smoking medium maybe medium, not even medium plus, just medium.
Just medium, yeah.
Yeah.
Your mom commented on the coffee made on your tongue is hilarious.
I'm glad somebody else is making fun of Chad. It's not just us.
That's James's mom.
Apparently, I'm the only person that's ever just thrown some in their mouth because.
No,
That's
I'm
like
just
the
messing with you.
coffee
I'm sure I've
drinkers
made a cup of
version.
coffee and then downed it and got some powder on it for sure.
I know I have, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never really any of the powder instant coffees, any of that. I've never really messed with, and I drink coffee all the time, but I've never. I guess that's the coffee drinkers version of an Ironhead's pre-workout dry scoop. Just going for it.
Cock one back.
Well, you said you drink black coffee now, Pat, right? Most of the
I
time.
do. If I'm not drinking black coffee, it is either like a standard cafe latte or cafe au lait where it's got just enough milk and sugar in it, but I don't do the flavored stuff. Almost never. Every once in a blue moon, I'll catch a vanilla something or hazelnut something, but it's probably 95% straight black or just as simple as I can make it because I do like the flavor of the coffee bean itself.
So I got to tell you a story, Gordon. The first time I ever saw a picture of you, I didn't even know who you were. Justin was, I don't know, he knocked off work that day and he was smoking cigars at CI, and I got a picture of this crazy guy holding this giant cigar. It was a 10 by 100. It was the 10 by 100.
It was almost
Lunatic?
the same size as him.
Is that what it was? The lunatic
Yeah.
10 by 100.
Yeah.
So tell us about that experience because we talk about that cigar all the time and none of us has smoked it.
Yeah.
Okay, so funny story about that. So there is a cigar lounge out here called Michael's that I tend to be a regular at, but it's because there are a couple people that work there that I tend to hang out a lot. One day, this is when Michael's first got their lunatic 10 by 100. And one day the guy one of the workers was like, I would never buy this myself, but if someone bought it for me, I will smoke it. And I looked at him and I was like, okay, bet. I went straight into the humidor, picked it up, and was like, here you go, charge me. And it's funny because he's like, motherfucker, you better be smoking this too. It's like, you know what? Fine. I'll smoke it when my shop gets it. Because that stick at the time was about 40-something bucks.
Yep.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not paying 40-something bucks for something like that. I'm going to wait until my shop gets it so I get it at my price.
Right. There you go.
And the dreaded day came when the cigar came into our shop, and I was like, shit.
Damn it.
Okay. Fuck. Okay, it came in, and I was like, well, I'm a man of my word, so I bought it, waited until it was the right time, and I smoked it on the weekend, like when I was working. To give you an idea, I was working at night, and my shift started at 4. So I started smoking it around 4:30. I made sure to eat a giant lunch before this because I was not stopping.
Okay.
And I smoked it all the way till 10:38, I think.
So
it took
6
me
hours.
Yes, it took me 6 hours to finish that.
Wow.
We've often discussed how long it would take because I've had the 6x60. I have one of the 7x70s, and I have not ventured past that because I've always wondered what that smoking time gap is going all the way to the 100. So I've always wondered how that's insane.
6 hours. Wow.
Oh yeah, the one thing is like, to give you an idea, I didn't even take a lunch break. I literally just smoked this all the way through. I took it like a champ. I would say I was sore after, no pun intended. But yeah, I was green in the face for at least a good 10 minutes. because it was there was at one point because so that 10 by 100, the tip of that cigar is big enough to take a 10 millimeter punch.
Oh
So
gosh.
Okay.
so I just punched it. It was actually pretty tight. So basically, I took a draw tool and just started taking stuff out. One, it opened it up real quickly. Two, it tasted like shit.
It did? It was not good.
No, like I
Oh, okay.
regretted opening it up. Like I was like, oh Lord, this tastes terrible.
I think he's saying because he opened it up so much, it tasted like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
I was thinking, and you kind of led into this. If very frequently any one of us can smoke, 3, 4, 5, 6 cigars, in a day or back to back, but most of the time we are changing what cigar we're smoking.
Mhm.
Every once in a blue moon we might piggyback, but a lot of times we'll all grab different stuff, so we're getting different profiles, different notes. When you're smoking the same cigar for that long, are you still able to really, like, at the end of the cigar, good or bad, were you able to still pull those notes out, or did your palate kind of get desensitized to it by the end of it?
So with the cigar like that, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't even paying attention to it. Like it tasted like tobacco all the way through until I opened it up. It tasted like when tobacco gets soaked in water and you let it sit in there for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's how it tasted. And that's why I said it tasted horrible
Musty or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
and bitter.
Ooh, that's so
And
good.
I was like, I shouldn't have opened this up. Like, I should have just left it. Like, I should have left it as it is, and I should have just continued smoking it. I will say, though, it did make it smoke faster because there was more airflow through it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it was not worth the torture of it tasting horrible.
Yeah, I think
So
I
you're-
remember asking you. I was like, "How did it taste?" You were like, "It didn't change. It stayed the same.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't any."
So you're at 6.5 hours opening it up. I wonder what that difference would have even been if you let it just combust naturally. I could have even.
So the 12 by 120 is going to be out next month. Are you going to
Holy
smoke
Jesus!
that?
I didn't see
Oh
that.
my god, dude!
I
No,
didn't
I
even
just
think
made
that
that.
was a thing.
He
I just made that
we didn't
up.
know that was a thing.
I just made that up.
Oh,
But
Yeah,
if it was, are you going to smoke it, Gordon? That's what we want to know.
Would you?
We
Well,
want to know if Terrence makes it, will you smoke it?
I was about to say, because of who the owner is, none of us doubted for a second that might be a real thing, because you never know what the hell he's going to do.
True.
Mhm.
So here's the thing. When I smoked the 10 by 100, after I was done, I was like, I will never again smoke a cigar like this unless someone paid me to do this.
There you go.
I'm sure we can take a collection pot.
That's the other big one you see people smoking is that Woody, that Oscar Valdez, that Woody cigar. It's like 34 inches or 39
Yes.
inches or something.
Yeah. 39.
So-
I think it's a full meter. I think.
So fun. I want to smoke that one because I like Oscar Valdez.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love his sticks. And I'm just really curious about it. But there's no one here in Texas that I know that sells them.
What is the biggest ring gauge of that cigar? Like, does it taper? Is it all one ring gauge?
I think it's all one ring gauge.
I feel like
I
it's
think
all
it's
one
all
ring
one ring
gauge,
gauge.
isn't it? And what
Yeah.
is it? Like a 60 or like a 70 or something?
I think it's
Pat's looking it up right now.
I'm trying to remember without having to look it up,
Oh,
because I should know this one because I've almost gotten it a few times.
I feel like I think it's a 70 because it needs to have a big enough ring gauge to be able to
Smoke
keep
and
that
breathe.
length.
Yeah.
yeah. It wouldn't be
And
big enough around to hold itself up at
Imagine doing a Lancero that long.
3 feet. Right. Might be like a 70 plus.
So funny
it's an
enough,
80. It's a 20. It's only. God, I thought it was longer than that. It is.
He said,
Oh, hold on. There's two variants now. Oh, I knew that. So it's the original was a 21 by 80, but there's now a 21 by 100. The newer one is 21 by 100, but it was 80 if I'm looking at it correctly.
Jeez.
I thought it was longer than that. I mean, granted, it's still a stupid, almost 2-foot cigar, but still.
I'll say
20
that one is definitely something I'm willing to smoke because at least like it's an experience with that one. Lunatics, in my all honest opinion, is just for the sake of smoking it.
Aesthetics.
Yeah, aesthetics. Because it is a torpedo. I'll say it literally looks like a horse dick.
Just lay that thing on you. Bam.
Exactly.
only on the hollow down.
Exactly.
But you would smoke that even though it's a what did he say? 100 by 21?
21 by 100.
Or 80. So think about how long
Or
yours
80.
took, and you doubled the length of it. It's going to take you 10 hours to smoke.
Yeah. But
Ooh.
I would be willing to tackle the 80, not the 100.
Yeah, the 80's got to
Isn't
burn
there
a
one
lot
guy that
faster.
smoked the whatever it was for like 3 hours? Didn't it take him 3 hours or something short amount of time? The guy that always smokes them. Chad, you talked about this.
Smoked what? Leaf Lunatic?
Yeah, he always smokes the what's it called? The Titan? Or what's it called? The big giant lunatic. The 10 by
It's
100.
called it's called the Lunatic, isn't it?
Yeah, there's one guy that smokes a bunch of them all the time, and there's one guy smoked it in like 3 hours or something like that. Some crazy long time.
That Leaf Lunatic smokes one every day. We were talking to
That's right. Yeah,
Terrence
Leaf
about
Lunatic.
him. He smokes one a day. Like
Smokes one a day.
every day he smokes one of those 10 by 100s.
He's got some deep pockets, I'll tell you that, because it's a $40 stick.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
but that's crazy. But you think about this, and I think we had this when Terrence was on the show with us. We say that, right? We're like, man, that's $40 a stick. I can't do that.
Gordon,
But I just smoked 5 $12 sticks in a row.
That's what I was just going to say is that
That's
I
just with
smoke
your
more
head
than $40 worth of cigars every day anyway, because I'm
Yep.
smoking,
Yeah.
4 or 5 cigars and 8, 10, 12, 16, whatever, right?
Yeah, I'm hitting the 30 mark at least every day. One on the way to work, one on the way home. That's at least $30 a day.
Yeah,
I mean,
I could see that. Yeah. Okay.
just-
I'd rather smoke 5 good cigars than one mediocre cigar, though. To be
Yeah.
honest with you.
It's weird what our brain does with us on finances and value, right? It's the same thing with food. It's like, do I want to spend $25 on one burger, or do I want to spend $25 on 5 that are also good burgers? It's like I'm spending the same amount of money, and I might spend the same amount of time enjoying this, but for some reason it just like, oh, this makes more sense. I don't know.
So it's funny how you bring up price because, as we all know, the industry has been has been hit with the tariffs as of late, and with Nicaragua, I think is 18%.
Yeah, Nicaragua hit hardest.
Yeah. So what I've noticed in the industry is that actually a lot of people have kind of stopped buying like more quantity. And it's weird because the thing is that they stick to the same quality, but the quantity has went down. And I was actually talking about this with a rep yesterday because he asked me, and like, oh, so what is everyone smoking nowadays? And I was like, well, right now, from what I've seen, is that it's still going to be 50% cigar, 50% flavored smokers, but that's kind of the butter of the industry. That's kind of what's keeping the industry alive. Even if people will disagree with me on it, and I've noticed that actually a lot of people have been focused more on price because nowadays a lot of people, whenever I ask them, hey, so what are we looking for today? They'll give me, oh, I would like this kind of wrapper with this kind of profile in this price range. And I'm thinking in my head, it's like, okay, well, that restricts me a lot. not saying that I can't do it. It's just more okay. And this, like, it's very interesting because especially when it comes from my regulars, I'm just like, okay, you've changed your qualifications quite a bit, and I feel and I can see that it's also affecting them. But even with these new smokers, that's like the first thing that they think about now, which I will say it's what is it? It is understandable. Hell, I have to do that now. Like I've been buying bundles as of late to kind of help with my budget. But it's like it's one of those things that I've noticed a change in the industry because as someone who smoked Davidoff quite often, I was like, well, price really never mattered to me to an extent. I will say there is diminishing return, but it's just where I noticed a lot of people actually focus more on their dollar per. You can kind of say dollar per inch almost, because they treat tobacco like truly a commodity. Like for example, corn is my like favorite example of using it. When they need when it comes to cigars, like I said, sommeliers, you have to think about the craft that's put into it, the blending. You have to take all these into consideration.
Region.
Exactly. That creates the price on the cigar. And like it's one of those things that I have a hard time trying to fit that in my mind because in a way, I never really looked at price when it comes to cigars in a way of like, I have to have this cigar, but it has to fit this price point.
Yeah.
And it's like, Justin and I were talking about this a little bit earlier is like, we just simply look at it as like, oh, this cigar is this much. Okay, does this fit in our budget? No, we'll look at it next time. Instead of saying, but most people are now saying it's like, oh, this cigar is this price point. I'm never going to smoke that.
And I've noticed just in our small group, and I don't just mean just our, the 4 or 5 of us, but like even whether it's beyond on our Hollow Down group, on other cigar groups, and just several group chats we're in, used to just the way that we have started sharing sales is different, just as friends and consumers will, always say, hey man, I saw this deal, where we used to be like, and we still do it to a degree where we'll say like, hey man, check out the deal on this box.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed a lot more frequency of, hey, check the deal out on this sampler, check the deal out on this bundle. It's like, because even though it's on a single stick, you may not notice that much of a difference. But when you're buying routinely for a daily smoker and you're smoking multiple a day, that starts adding up and it starts changing your value. And, you have different price points, even on the same cigar, depending on what Vitola you're smoking. But for the average individual, cigar equals time. Like what size of it? Like, because I do that a lot. I love my Gordos, but there's sometimes I have to smoke Petit Coronas too. It's like, okay, well, how long do I have to smoke? So part of my brain talks about value to price, but some of it is size equals time. And when you start mixing those two thoughts together, time equals money. And how long am I going to get a smoke out of this for how much did I spend for it? And so I've noticed just our conversations and everybody's conversations where we're still buying boxes and bundles and specific sticks, but the stuff that's being commented more is the different samplers, and even several of our favorite, whether it's brick and mortar or online retailers, are now pushing even more. Hey, buy this, you get these cigars free. Buy this, you get this swag free, which has always been a thing, but it's like it's being pushed more to try to compensate for some of that value loss with the price changes.
Yeah. And like one thing is the other thing that I just remembered was like I talked about how a lot of these new cigar smokers, which I know that we don't really deal with it as like a community, but as a retailer, because I deal with a lot of a mixed crowd. So I get a mixture of new cigar smokers and experienced cigar smokers. that a lot of these newer smokers nowadays are going for more aesthetic than actual flavor profile.
That's what we were just talking about before we started this.
Yeah. And that's why actually a lot of them don't care if it's if it's a traditional flavored, if it's this size or that size, or if it's this brand or that brand. Because at the end of the day, they then also they're like, well, I'm smoking a cigar, I'm looking like a cool guy. And then that's why they also look at the price point at that, because they're like, well, I just want to look. It's kind of like champagne on a beer budget? Is that what the term is?
Champagne on a beer budget.
Yeah. So when they think of the aesthetics, that's all they focus about, instead of actually tasting the cigar, seeing what the profile is. Is this something that I'm looking for?
We kind of brought that up before this. We were talking about the golf guys. Like, a lot of the golf guys are split into two categories. Either they are smokers and they'll smoke whatever they want on the course, or it's the guys that just smoke for the look, smoke for the feel. Like I was telling him, a lot of the guys that actually golf, they'll set their cigar down and golf, but most guys, they'll just, and just, they don't care. They care about the look.
Photo op on Facebook.
Yeah, it's more about like beating your chest, saying I smoked a cigar with the boys playing golf. Then you have the guys that actually care about it, and they'll set it down and actually take their swing.
But
Chad can probably speak to that. Chad plays.
I was about to say, we've had similar discussions with Chad. It's like how he smokes, what he smokes, when he smokes, and he golfs more than the rest of our group combined, probably, even when he doesn't have time for it. So it's just that's how we got on the conversation with the stogie sleeve, was that he actually
stogie sleeve,
he'll actually keep the cigar so he can come back and enjoy it. But that's
those
also
things are a game changer, man. They've changed golf for me.
When and Gordon, you talk about aesthetics, my brain immediately went to championship football, whether it's college or NFL. After every game, what do we always see all over these cigar groups? Hey, man, what's he smoking?
Yep.
Do you really care, or is it because you want to look like Joe Burrow tomorrow?
Exactly.
Well, that's why all these companies have started to fight for the exclusive rights for each one of these stadiums and stuff. Like I know Bocock Brothers got one for LSU, and there's different brands fighting for these college rights to make these cigars now too.
And like the LSU one, I've heard completely mixed reviews, and I haven't smoked any of them because I see people like, man, this is a great cigar. And then there's other people that all they talk about is, man, this thing looks cool, but how does it smoke? Like, I don't think, some people don't care. It's got LSU stuff on it. It's got a sponsorship. I'm gonna smoke it, and that's all they need.
And it's funny how you bring that up, because actually, so this advice that I usually give to a lot of newer smokers that are trying to branch out kind of goes against what you're talking about. Because I always tell people, hey, if you don't know what to smoke and you don't know what you're looking for, look at the band. Does it speak to you? Okay, pick it up. Because the thing is, you don't know what you're going to smoke anyway, so why don't you just go pick it up based off the band? Because then you may never know. You might like that cigar, or if it's complete crap, you'll just never pick it up again.
I think we talked about this with Terrence, is that people shop with their eyes first. And so if the band sticks out to them, they're going to go to that right away.
I mean, we all like a sexy band.
Sure.
There's no doubt about it. So we see that sexy band and we're drawn to it.
I mean, it's easy to say now, 16 years down the line, for me to have this conversation and be like, hey, I like this spice, or I like this baking note, or I like this. Did I know that before I smoked my first cigar? Hell no. I mean, like for me, I mentioned that I smoked acid. Now, the first one was given to me, so I'll take that out of the equation. You want to know why the next several I kept going back to acid? Because they had a fucking motorcycle on the logo.
That motorcycle was cool. I remember when that came out, man.
I was like, man, it looks cool as shit. And that's all
1999, 98, like that.
All I cared about. So, I mean, it does play a part, and it's also why on rating systems, appearance is part of it. And appearance doesn't only talk about the tobacco. I mean, shit, we talk about the bands all the time, whether they're good, bad, do they look good, do they come off good? I mean, yeah, we're talking about notes, but I mean, that's a good thing to bring up. I mean, appearance and aesthetics is a selling point, and I mean, this cigar may look like, okay, this cigar is it's a little too mild. I might not like that. But man, it's a cool ass band. Let me try. Holy shit, that's awesome. I mean, you don't know. You just gotta. We can talk all day long, but you're right. Sometimes you just gotta try it and see if you like it or not.
So it's kind of funny how you bring that up. Like, oh, what is it? It might be too mild or something like that, because it reminds me of basically how I treat new cigar smokers whenever they come in. Like, oh, I don't know what to smoke. This is my first cigar. Where should I be? Like, I'm a little bit more forgiving where I am now versus where I was back then in the industry. But like, so as you know, I am mainly a Davidoff smoker, but the thing is, like, I do smoke other sticks.
Mm-hmm.
So what I used to do back in the day was, oh, we have a new smoker. Okay, cool. Let me bring you to Davidoff. And I know a lot of people will kind of get on me about it because they're like, you're giving a new smoker a $20 to $25 stick. But I will get to that in a second. So the main cigar that I always give a lot of new smokers, well, I'll say two of them, is either the Davidoff Grand Cru or the Davidoff Signature. Reason for it is that we won't understand, like, we won't get this since we're very experienced, and not a lot of us tend to really like smoke lighter sticks often. But for new cigar smokers, lighter sticks are the way to go, and it gives you, and those sticks, they give you the profile right there and then. And like, as I'm walking through with these new guys, I tell them, oh, well, I have this, and they will taste at least 3 to 5 of those notes right off the bat, and that will tell them what they like and what they don't like. In comparison to, let's talk about Perdomo for a second. A lot of them go to the Perdomo Champagne.
Mm-hmm.
If you were a new smoker back in the day and someone told me about these profiles, more than likely I'm not going to get that profile off the first stick. It'll take me about 2 to 3 times to get it down to what the person's talking to me about. But think about it this way. Let's say we're talking about a Perdomo 10th anniversary Champagne Robusto. That's about $10 a stick right there. And you have to smoke 3, that's 30. I give you a Davidoff Grand Cru Robusto, that's $27, and you get your profile right there and then. You're saving yourself about $3, and then you can move on to other brands, or you can stick to the same brand and figure out your profile that way. So I still talk about it in an economical standpoint because of the fact that my number one thing I always tell them is, if you like the brand, awesome, but you don't have to stay here. Like, my way of teaching them is starting from the top going down, because it's easier to refine a profile like when they have no profile to start with.
Yeah. See that?
makes sense. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to talk about a tobacconist mindset. That right there was one hell of an explanation, because, I mean, we just had the whole value conversation, and you're explaining why your value may be more spent here versus here, even for a new smoker. And I actually personally relate to the two that you picked with Davidoff, because when I first, a few years ago, started trying Davidoff stuff, the Signature was the first one I smoked. I picked up several notes. I remember enjoying it then.
Mm-hmm.
And the Grand Cru is the one that kind of, I started out of the Davidoff line, started kind of experimenting other stuff, and I went down the rabbit hole, smoked them all. And now my favorite two out of their line is the Millennium and the Escurio, and I won't go back to the Signature anymore, because I had that growth within the line of realizing in that line what I preferred, because I was able to pick those notes up so cleanly.
Yeah.
And some of it is a testimony to how well they do their cigars as a brand, but it's a good one because they focus so much on flavor and quality control that you're able to pick up what they want to produce out of that cigar so cleanly. So having from the tobacconist mind that you have, being able to understand that and recommend it in the way that you literally just explained is phenomenal to somebody that, especially if you've never smoked those cigars and you have no idea where you want to land. It gives you a direction and which a taxiway to kind of point to get started.
Exactly. And I can even use this in a different point as well, because Pat, you mentioned that you smoked Padron for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, for example, you were an all-time Padron smoker. You didn't smoke anything else, like you said. If it wasn't Padron, it's crap.
Yeah, got stuck
on. And then let's say you never had experience with Davidoff. Okay, most people, what they do is like, oh well, here's Davidoff, let's try it. But they pick the white label line because, well, which makes sense. That's what Davidoff was known for, right?
Yep.
But a lot of people are like, oh, it's too light, doesn't fit. What is it? It's too light for me, so they just write off Davidoff as it's complete crap. It's just like it's a money grab, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem. Most people, when they go to Davidoff, they pick it based off what the brand is about. They don't pick it based off what their profile is. That is the most common mistake that people make, not just with Davidoff, but with a lot of other brands out there too. They pick it based off of what that brand is known for.
You literally just explained my segue to Davidoff, because that's exactly what happened. I even out of Padron, I like several of them, but the 1926, I love it. Well, that's got bolder, flavors to it. It's still smooth, but it's got bolder stuff. And the first one I went to on Davidoff, 100% because of the advertisements. I went to the white label. I went to Signature. I went to what everybody I see in all the ads, and I see in the coat pockets of the Davidoff reps. And my first thought was, that's okay. And I did not go back to them. And I kept trying it several times, but I would always go. I never got into the deeper flavoring of it until somebody literally put one on my head and was like, hey, dude, smoke this shit. It took somebody to kind of push my envelope. So I was that guy.
Right.
I'm jealous of Justin that he has somebody like you that he actually has a connection with. It's a real thing. It matters. I mean, there's so many years of cigar smoking that I wonder what I missed out on.
Well, this started off as him just helping me out, and now it's actually we're friends. Mm-hmm. We talk on a day-to-day basis. He knows my wife. I know his fiance. Like, he's seen pictures of my kids. Like, we've gone down the whole rabbit hole of friendship and consumer and all that. So
that's friendship therapy 101 right there.
Oh yeah. Like, and the one thing is just like, I can go into this whole thing with brands and everything. Like, I know for sure that most people with Davidoff, like you said, it was advertised with the white label, but that's because that's a flagship line.
Right.
But the thing is, like, for example, Christmas time, a lot of brands put out their samplers, and they in a lot of their samplers, they put like their most popular sticks. But here's one thing that's actually one thing that's funny, and I've noticed this for a couple of years, is if you ever look at a Davidoff gift sampler, they almost never put the late hour in there.
It's one of their best cigars.
Exactly. It's their most popular stick, to the point that they're like, why would we need to put this in here?
People are gonna buy it anyway.
Like, we know that the second you try it, even if it's your first time ever trying it, you will love that stick. And that's how confident they are in that line. And I know that for sure because it's a testimony for myself, because that is my number one stick to this day.
Yeah, I like the regular Winston Churchill too.
I'm still trying to get
Oh, I
used to
love it.
that one.
Love it.
I mean, if I was to since I mentioned my top two in Davidoff, the late hours easily number three. You know, and it probably was outside once I got past the white label. It was one of my preferred until I hit the Millennium is what changed it for me. That one was my, and then I went to the Escurio. But late hour solid. I mean,
Oh yeah.
but I
I
guess that's
smoked 10th Nicaragua 2 days ago. The Davidoff 10th
oh,
Nicaragua. Man, that's such a good cigar.
I still got myself at think just a little bit less than a box right now, and it's such a good smoke. I
I
love that
picked
shit.
6 up from a guy the other day who had them on the resale market, and I'm glad I snatched them up because you can't get them anymore.
Oh
They're
yeah.
gone everywhere.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stick.
Stellar.
But yeah, it's
But
just like,
pricey.
but it with this like with this industry, it's like how I look at it is like there's this one thing that I've heard from someone a long time ago that they went to a what is it? They were taking a theater class, and this one professor said, "Okay, class, this is where your wonder when it comes to what is it? When it comes to the movie industry is going to die." And it's mainly because of the fact that you're going to learn the inner workings and behind the scenes of that industry. In
Yeah,
my in my opinion, yes, a part of me kind of died as a consumer because I see the inner workings. I see the behind the scenes. I look at it from the other perspective.
Yeah, different
And
glasses.
yep.
exactly. And it kind of takes a little bit of the fun out of it, but that's why, like, from the 5 years I've worked in this industry, I've learned to find new fun in it, which is trying to recommend new sticks, make new friends, talk about stories behind certain sticks that I've had. That it will, in a way, yes, it's a selling point to a cigar, which at the end of the day, I am a salesman. I am not a cigar smoker, first and foremost.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But those memories, Justin, I'm gonna put you on the spot, and hopefully you can still do this. Beach and Destin, what are you smoking?
Ooh. I mean, I'm going to go with the Maduro or Connecticut broadleaf, one of the darker cigar. I mean, that's what I've always smoked on the beach.
Right. And you tell us that every time you're talking about a beach trip, you know, and even if you haven't told us what you're going to smoke, we have an idea of kind of what type you're going to smoke because you have this thought in your brain of what you're going to smoke. I smoke singles and samplers all over the place because I like doing different stuff. But
Yep.
if I go on the cruise ship, I'm bringing my bolder, spicier cigars
Yep.
because to me, when I'm on the water, the relaxation mixed with the profile hit in my brain does something for me. So there's a connection with an experience and memories based on these different cigars at different times. So just, and I've never asked Chad, but I'm sure when he goes on the golf course, since we mentioned he's probably got a certain select, maybe Don Carlos for all I know. He may, you know, he's probably got ones that he probably pings to because you kind of get these personal memories and
I
it kind
probably
of
smoke more Connecticut's and medium body smokes on the golf course because I don't want to have to pay attention to them.
that's fair. And yeah, that's a
Because
good point.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because I just want to smoke a cigar at that point. It's not something I'm really trying to. I'm doing it out of necessity,
Right.
yeah.
partially, right? So, so I'll smoke a Connecticut, like a Hoya or something like that I know what it tastes like. I've smoked a million of them, and I don't have to pay attention to it to keep up.
And I'd
That
say, and if since we mentioned Davidoff, and I know we'll start wrapping up here in a minute, but if you're talking about Davidoff, and we talked about quality control, not yes, this is a Davidoff specific thing, but if you're a new smoker and you want to see kind of what Gordon is talking about in his training from where it starts to where it ends, I think Davidoff has one of the best movie length documentaries on the planet about how this process works. I think it's called From Seed to Smoke, if I got my head right. It's an hour and a half long. So it's just like watching a movie, but it will walk you through everything from literally them planting the seed down to them being in boxes. and it's cool to kind of see how the progress of the process goes and how it works. And it's if you're cigar nerdy, I think it's a fun one to watch.
Oh yeah,
It's
like
super good.
it's just. Sorry, I've been thinking about what you're talking about with like your beach smoke or like your golf smoke in this sense. I was like, it's so hard for me to figure out, which I would say this is another thing that kind of died with me when it came to becoming a retail seller when it comes to cigars. Is because one thing I was talking with Justin is like, I don't know what I didn't know what to smoke on this on this show. It's like, it's this dilemma of always trying to figure out, well, what have you smoked? What haven't you tried? Are you ready to have the mindset to smoke this cigar at this moment? And it's so hard to figure out because it's like, that's where the fun was kind of taken away too. But it's because it's just like nowadays I look at, oh, what are the cigars that everyone's talking about right now? Okay, cool. So they talk. Let's say, for example, the My Father Blue. A lot of people have been talking about that. I just one day ended up picking it up, smoking it, and I didn't even do like in a way a proper review for myself. But and the thing is that I didn't even have time to do a proper review because I was just like, I just need to know this now, and so I know how to sell this to a customer or find an alternative to it if we don't have it.
Right.
Which that's the sucky part.
I'll be honest, that was the one cigar I was looking for when I came here today. I was like, man, I want to try one of those My Father Blues, and you guys didn't have it. I was like, well, guess I'm smoking the Judge.
And, your thought process is on point. There's, kind of two things here. Is one, what do you smoke today, right?
Yeah.
If you go back and watch our show with Ronnie from Secreto, dude knows tobacco, blindfolded, deaf, mute, right? I mean, and we were, we smoked things that he had. He brought, what was it, 5 or 6 sticks because we're smoking, he's talking, and then he has to stop and be like, how do you guys decide what to smoke on this show? And he's going through cigars, and he's like, I'm going to smoke this one. And at the last minute, he's like, nah, fuck it, I'm smoking this. I mean, and it's crazy what goes through your brain when you're trying to, whether you're doing a show, whether you're at the lounge with somebody, you're at the beach, whatever. It's like the thought process that goes in your mind of what to smoke is a phenomenon in its own light.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, our brains do some weird things, and some of it's connection based, some of it is neutral based, whatever. You never really know what you're going to do until you just pick it up and do it. And either you like the moment, you don't. Your journey grows, and you go into the next thing. You remember that the next time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the fun behind it, and it's actually by design. If you notice, when we do our review shows, we don't just do the new thing. In fact, we rarely do the new thing. There's people out there doing these cigars from the stuff that got put out last week, and we've done a couple, but we've got a bag of stuff set aside to do on the show. Some of it's modern stuff, some of it's from years ago, to recycle stuff and get honest opinions.
Yeah.
And some of that, sometimes we have a reason for why we're doing this cigar on this show, and sometimes we're literally like, screw it, let's just pull this one.
I think the last one we did was the Redacted by Warfighter. Because I had mentioned on their podcast that they wanted people to do reviews and let them know what we thought. And I said, hey, man, let's do that one because it's relevant content. They want to know, what people thought of it. And so we did that one. But other than that, there's no new releases that we really do.
Yeah.
Me and Chad did one, almost a year ago when Black Star Line and Cigar Dojo came out with the Yasuke. We did that one new. And me and him are going to circle it back around and do a second one as a secondary review. But those are rare cases. We don't push the new hip thing very often. There's people doing that, it's not our vibe, and that's cool. But sometimes we have a reason. Sometimes we don't. We'll just look at the list and just smoke this one. Screw it.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, the dilemma of trying to figure out what to smoke. It reminds me of this one game I used to play with one of my former coworkers, and I would tell her, Go into the what is it? Look at the humidor. Pick me 3 sticks. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what the size is. Just 3 sticks under a certain price point. Go.
Yep.
Because I have such a hard time trying to figure out what I wanted to smoke, to the point I'm like, I don't want to waste any more time on this. I'm gonna have someone else to figure it out for me, because then it forces me to try something.
The guys know this. My wife Ellen does that for me. That's like one of her things that she does is she'll whether we're in the lounge. Justin has seen it in person. I've been at the lounge smoking with him. She disappears, comes back, and she'll just grab random cigars for me. I'm like, why'd you get this? I don't know. It looked cool.
She'll come back with boxes.
It's like
Sometimes, yeah.
sometimes it's
Yeah.
like every once in a while she'll be like, well, I know you like this cigar, but I've never seen you smoke this. I've never heard you talk about this. And she doesn't smoke anymore, but she knows, she listens to me, what she watches the show, listens to me talk, complain, enjoy. And so it's sometimes she'll be like, hey, I've never seen you smoke this stuff. Try it. And I found some bangers that way, stuff that I might not have gone and picked up.
Yeah.
I'd walk right past it in the shop, but
Like
well,
that.
yeah. I'll say that I hate this part of the show because we do have to kind of wrap up because people are going to get bored and start canceling our show. But not really. But I'll say the conversations that we've had today, even just on this friendly level, not reviewing anything, it's interesting, which is why we wanted to bring you on, because you brought up points from a different avenue that we don't talk about as consumers, reviewers, just smokers, right?
Yeah.
And it's something like we're definitely gonna have to bring you back on from the time to time to kind of keep letting you talk, because it's very interesting whether you're somebody like me that's completely nerdy when it comes to cigars, like Chad. He'll dig into questions. Justin digs into questions, but then you've also got the new aspect of I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and it all blends together having these conversations about what you're smoking, because yes, it's a hobby. It may not technically be an essential commodity, but to some of us it is, because to me, this is my daily relaxation. I get home from work. I'm smoking 1 or 2 cigars every morning before I go to bed. So to me, it has become an essential part of my routine. So learning about this stuff, the inner workings of it, becomes like a nerdy, knowledge-based hobby on top of what we're doing.
That's literally how our friendship started, is that I was a beginner. He told me all about it. And then I became a nerd. He was already a cigar nerd. So we just became cigar nerd friends. And we bounce off each other all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where my friendship, you, Chad, Justin, that's how I met y'all, was in other cigar groups, talking, posting, and our similarities we ended up in the same group as I was starting to hollow down, and our conversations turned into the friendship it is now, and it all started from cigars.
Yeah, let's say friends, leave the nerds out of it. I don't want to.
I'll own that one. I don't care.
Yep.
Same.
But this has been I may be biased, but I think this has been a great show. I love when we have time to stop and not do our normal thing and just converse and talk about things. I think there's been some good points said today that hopefully the family watching can pull some stuff out from what you've said, what we said, whatever. And so I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come up there, hang out with Justin, and actually slip on the show with us, because it's very much appreciated, because this is not your show. You're not obligated to do a damn thing. So I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us for a while, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
no
thanks,
problem.
Gordon.
Like all I'll say is, what is it? Anytime anyone has a question, if they and I can answer it, I'll try my best to answer it.
Yeah. And the good thing is, if you don't know, you got ways to find out. So
Exactly.
Well,
That's right.
Well, if y'all are watching Hollow Down Land, I appreciate y'all's time as well, hanging out with us. If you're watching this live, appreciate it. I know we didn't announce this one. We just kind of did it. If you're seeing this when it's reposted, Leave the comments down on the show. Let us know what you think. We do enjoy the feedback. Chad has told me to stop saying feel free to send hate mail as well, but I say send whatever you want. We'll respond to it. No hate mail.
No hate mail.
But thanks, guys, for another good show. And everybody watching, y'all know the drill. Till next time, stay safe and hollow down.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.